Okay, so in this video we're going to go over the first step of our warm-up exercise. So in class we saw the starfish and the shark finished product, and here's how the first step of the warm-up looks like. So the starfish starts by walking across the screen. Whenever it hits the edge, it bounces right back, and whenever we press the spacebar, it stops. So that's what you should have by the end of this video. You should have a new scenario with your animal of choice that starts walking across the screen. Whenever it hits the edge, it should bounce right back, and whenever the space key is pressed, the animal should stop walking. Let's go ahead and let's create a new project. I have one open over here. In this case, I'm not going to be using the scratch cat, so I'll go ahead and delete it. We can make a new sprite here by creating on the middle button right here, this one right here. And when I go ahead and select our animal, I'll pick the starfish. Double click on that, it shows up. Rename our sprite. I'll rename it to starfish. Probably want to add a new costume to it, since there are two costumes here. You know, it's always good practice to have your costumes here. So if whenever you want to change costume to, let's say, a scared costume or whatever, you have it here. So go ahead, select starfish beak, click OK. Now we can go to stage, and we want to change the stage up a little bit. So we want to make it so that the stage is underwater. So if we go on the background tabs on stage, we can click import, and we can select the underwater one. Now the default stage, we can delete that since we're not going to be using it. We can go back to our starfish, click on the scripts, and now we can start actually making our starfish do what we want it to do. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, let's position the starfish where we want it to start. So I'll make it start right here at the bottom right corner. Probably want to resize your animal. So if you right click it and select resize the sprite, you can drag this little arrow right here and make it any size you want, pretty much. Now, one problem that we have is that the starfish is facing right. We want the starfish to be facing left. Now, if you look over here, you can see that there is this little blue line right here, and we can wiggle that around, and whenever we do, you can see that the starfish is moving around. So if we make it look the other way, well, the starfish is now facing left. Well, the problem is the starfish is upside down, so that's not actually what we want. So what we want is the starfish be facing left, but it has to be not upside down. It has to be right side up. So if we look at these three buttons here on the top of our screen here, we can see that the first one says can rotate. The second one says only face left right, and the last one says don't rotate. So what we want is we want our starfish to be only facing left and right. So let's go ahead and click the middle button, and now if we wiggle the blue line around, we can see that the starfish only faces left and right. So that's exactly what we want. Now we can start writing our script. So to start writing your script, you always want to start with the when green flag click button. It's also good practice, and you should always do this. Make your sprite point in the direction you want. In this case, I want my sprite to start facing left. Right now it's facing right. So if we double click here, boom, now it's facing left. We'll also want to make sure that the sprite is in the right position, so that if the sprite is over here, we want to click the green flag and make the sprite go over here. So if we go ahead and just under motion, go to the go to XY block, we can pick a point in our stage grid. We'll say 200 and negative 130. That should be about here. If you don't know which point to pick, you can look right here under the stage. There are these two numbers here, x, y, and that shows the current XY position of your cursor. So I want my starfish to be about here. So that's about x 200, y negative 130. So if we click the green flag, we can see that the starfish is right where I want it. Also, the point and direction too is also important to have. So whenever you click the green flag, it's always facing the right direction. Another thing we want to do is, well, what if we have the scary costume on and we click the green flag? Well, we don't want to start a script with the scared costume on. The scared costume on. I'm sorry. We want to start a script with the happy costume. So the way to do that is by going under looks and saying switch to costume, and we want the starfish A costume. So whenever we click the green flag, the starfish is happy. Another problem that we have with this is, what if our starfish is hidden? We want to make sure that the starfish is visible whenever we click the green flag. So right now, if we click the green flag, the starfish is still invisible. So we can go ahead and snap the show block right underneath here. So now when we click the green flag, our starfish becomes visible. Alright, so now we can start thinking about how to make the starfish glide across the screen. One way, the basic way that we want to do, well, we already know how to use the move and steps block. So if we press the move block here, the starfish will keep moving. So the intuition here is that you want to repeat this move block a certain number of times. One way to do that is by just clicking duplicate here and just keep pasting it on the bottom. Now that's not very efficient and not elegant at all. In fact, you should not do that. The right way to do it is by using a loop. Now, what is a loop? Well, a loop is just a block that will repeat for a certain amount of times, or until a certain condition is done, whatever is inside of it. So for instance, the repeat block here will repeat the move 5 steps block 10 times. Double click on that, we can see that our starfish moves 50 steps. We can click on that again and again, and you can see that it just keeps doing the move block whatever number of times we want. That's not actually what we want. The forever block will keep doing whatever is inside of it forever. So put the move here, you can see that the starfish just keeps going. I mean, it's still going. We can drag it back and it'll just keep going. It'll keep going forever. That's not actually what we want. So let's get rid of that. We have two more blocks down here, which are the forever if block and the repeat until block. Now, the forever if block will repeat whatever is inside of it if a condition is true. So a condition is usually given by the hexagon here. So let's say if a condition, let's say 1 smaller than 2 is true, which is true, we can see that this block here will repeat whatever is inside here as long as this condition is true. Well, this condition is always true, so I'll just keep repeating this forever. So you can click here, and yep, lo and behold, it repeats forever. So that's not actually what we want to. What we actually want is the repeat until block. The repeat until will repeat something until the condition in the block becomes true. So the condition on the block as a starter must be false. So let's say 2 smaller than 4. Now that's a true condition, so this block shouldn't do anything. And we can see that I can double click on it and it doesn't actually do anything. Now if I switch the numbers around, if I say 4 smaller than 2, now we can see that this is not true, so this block should keep repeating until this condition here becomes true. Well, this condition will never become true, so it should just repeat forever. So we can click on it, and we can see that it just keeps repeating whatever is inside of it forever. And if we take the move out, it doesn't do anything. If we put it back in, it keeps repeating it. So that's actually what we want, but we don't want, the number condition here. What we want is we want to repeat the move until the space bar is clicked. So if we go to sensing over here, we have this key space pressed. We can go ahead and snatch that block in, and we can see that this loop here, whenever we double click, will just repeat until we press the space bar. And we can see that again. We'll repeat, until we press the space bar. And once the space bar is pressed, the loop stops. However, our sprite is still going a bit fast, so we want to slow it down for a bit. We can use the wait block to do that. And the wait block is under control. Here, wait a certain number of seconds. We want to wait, let's say, 0.03 seconds. So we can see that now it's moving at a good speed, and whenever we press the space bar, it stops. And last but not least, if we keep running this loop, we can see that the starfish just runs out of the screen, and that's not too fun. So what we want to do is make sure that the starfish, whenever it hits the edge of the screen, it rotates around. It does this, you see? It just rotates around. That's exactly what we want. So to do that, we can go to motion, and we can use the if on edge bounce block right here at the bottom. If on edge bounce. So if we drag that right in, we can see that whenever the starfish is on the edge, it will bounce right back, as you can see. So that's looking good. Let's go ahead and let's snatch that in our initial positions. So you can see that now the starfish is at a completely different position as our initial position, and it's facing the wrong direction too. But we can also make the costume wrong, just to show you. And whenever you click the green flag, it goes right back to its correct position, correct initial position. It switches the costume, it faces the right direction, and it starts walking. So that's the end of the warm-up exercise. I hope you enjoyed